On March 2nd of 2020, I decided to return to my favorite place in the world, which is Japan. I boarded my flight knowing that COVID-19 was taking place, but I never could have imagined what was to come. One of my traditions on the flight to Japan is to watch the movie Lost in Translation, and just like Bill Murray in the movie, I imagined myself arriving in Shinjuku in my cab, taking in the neon lights that I love. One of the first places I always visit in Tokyo is a heavy metal bar called Gods. Heavy metal isn't for everybody, but I love it, and as we have seen throughout this class, it has its place in environmental journalism. Arriving in Kyoto, I always go to my friend's bar first. It is called Rutubo, and his dog Mamu is a constant sight in the window, bringing in customers and providing joy to everyone. Right away, the weather wasn't great, but I was so happy to be back. It was raining, 46 degrees, but my soul was warm and my heart was happy. His bar also hosts live music at times. One night, a group came in and did a cover of Earth, Wind & Fire, and I absolutely loved this memory because it was such a happy time and I wasn't thinking of anything negative. Often in Kyoto, we ride bikes together. My friend is a restaurant owner and he knows the best spots in town. We ride bikes from restaurant to restaurant, eating everything in sight, including a restaurant such as this that simply specializes in very simple grilled fish. Riding bikes in Kyoto is a special experience. The streets are easy to navigate, it's safe from cars and pedestrians as everyone follows the rules, and it's by far, in my opinion, the best way to experience the city. One thing that I love about Kyoto is I never feel like a tourist. My friend always brings me to small, intimate settings that make me feel more like a local. Most people only speak Japanese, and I usually end up fumbling my way through hand gestures and short phrases I've learned. But I love these memories because they make me feel like someone who belongs here, and not like someone who is simply visiting. It is this sensation that keeps me coming back. In Kyoto, shrines and temples of both the Buddhist and Shinto faith are everywhere, and during COVID they were empty, allowing for a sense of meditation and reflection that you can't get in a crowded place. During March, sakura season is in full bloom, and Kyoto is one of the best viewing spots for sakura or cherry blossoms in all of Japan. People usually flock here to see these magnificent trees and the white and pink blossoms that sprout from them. But because of COVID, I was one of the few foreigners still in Kyoto during this period. It offered a unique sense of being alone, but at the same time comfortable. During sakura season, there are cherry blossom viewing parties called Hanami. I was very much looking forward to these as they tend to be quite raucous and intense, but they were canceled. This spot at the peak of Higashiyama is one of my favorite spots to visit and one that I come to every time in Kyoto, and I almost compare myself to who I am now to who I was when I first stepped onto that peak. The Kamo River offers an incredibly beautiful walking path that I always find myself wandering down again and again. Cherry blossom trees line the whole river. This area is called Ninenzaka. It is a traditional historical district in Kyoto near Kiyomizu-dera Temple, and the sakura tree here is very famous and offers beautiful sights. One thing about walking around Kyoto with a clear umbrella with the rain thudding against it is that you simply forget about everything except where you are. It offers a sense of escapism that I have not found anywhere else in the world. This was one of the few hanamis that did take place, where the trees are lit up at night, sake and beer are flowing from small vendors, and people simply sit and watch the trees and admire their beauty. Again, me and my friend ride bikes often. Since I knew my time was short, we spent as much time possible going from restaurant to restaurant, simply trying to have a good time while not worrying about the virus. When the waters are low on the banks of the Kamo River, you're able to walk across stones such as these that are hidden when the waters are flowing higher. It offers a unique view of the river from its center, and hopping across them is quite the enjoyable experience. I spent many hours simply taking in the beauty of the sakura, knowing that my time in Japan was short. But that is the beauty of sakura. They are beautiful but fleeting. This was the very end of my trip. I suddenly and unexpectedly, in 24 hours' notice, was required to take the Shinkansen or the high speed bullet train from Kyoto back to Tokyo and board a flight the next day. Usually, these trains are busy and quite enjoyable, but still there's a sense of life. But that night, I was one of the few passengers on the train, and it was surreal to see how dead it was. This was my return to Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. This international terminal is usually bustling, crowded, and insane, but upon my arrival, it was desolate and empty, and it heralded what was to come as the pandemic spread.